It's important to address one company that has delivered its numbers, Pidilite. The consumer business this time around of Pidilite has slowed down a bit with the volume growth coming in single digits. But interesting to note that the industrial segment has done well. While all the other companies have been reporting a bit of a slowdown in their industrial segment, Pidilite, however, has bucked that trend. So let's understand what went by for Pidilite in the quarter gone by. And for that, we have with us Mr. Apurva Parekh. He's the executive director of the company. Apurva, always a pleasure chatting with you. Let's start off first with the top line growth. You saw many quarters of a nice more than 20% growth, but the last quarter and the current quarter growth has obviously moderated, and now it's just at about 10%. So what's been happening in the last 5-6 months then for Pidilite in terms of sales?
So there has been some challenging demand condition. However, despite the challenging demand condition, we have delivered resilient volume growth. Our consumer and bazaar business has grown by about 6%, and our industrial products has grown by about 12%. We see faster growth in smaller town and rural areas.
Okay, your margins, however, have shown a nice expansion. Is this because of the fall in raw material costs? And, how much would you also say is being contributed because of the change in product mix?
It is due to a benign raw material scenario. And in addition to that, in some of our product categories, we had taken price increase last year. So these two factors have resulted into expansion of margin.
Okay, let's talk about each segment. The consumer and bazaar segment this time around has seen some tempered growth. You mentioned that things have been a bit challenging. It seemed to have hit the consumer segment. And also, you've taken certain price hikes. So do you think that has hit consumer sentiment in this segment?
So there has been some challenging demand scenario, as you may have seen in results of some other companies as well. However, in this demand scenario, we believe our performance has been reasonable, driven by faster growth in smaller towns and rural areas.
Okay, also I think what's been one green spot is the industrial segment. I mean, very strong signs of a recovery. So what's helped Pidilite in the first quarter, and how do you think you'll be able to sustain these growth levels?
See, industrial businesses, should not be really seen in our case on a quarter-to-quarter basis, because, it can fluctuate due to number of factors, including demand at our customers, export scenario, and other factors. However, one reason for improvement in our growth rate is, a strong performance of some of our product categories, which have been impacted due to some of the problems in China, and our continuous focus to improve both the product and customer mix.
Okay, now I know that Pidilite does not give a guidance for FY20, but what will be the key focus areas then for the company in FY20?
Again, I would not like to say what you should expect, but as a company, historically, if you see, Pidilite has been growing at a CAGR of about 15% top line growth. That is the kind of growth that we aspire, double-digit volume growth and top line value growth of about 15%. So all our efforts are in that direction. As a company, our strategy continues to remain same. We have a good product portfolio. We see good, runway ahead. In addition to that, we continue to work on innovation and increasing our presence in international market in some of the emerging countries.
Okay, Apurva, thanks so much for joining in and telling us what went by in the first quarter. The stock price, by the way, today is managing to stay steady with gains of approximately 1%.